The Toronto Raptors stay hot after defeating a depleted Boston Celtics squad in overtime last night, continuing to make a push to get as far away as possible from the play-in position so they can lock up the opportunity to play a 7-game series in the postseason. And if the Raptors do manage to get that opportunity to play in the playoffs, whether through the play-in or they end up clinching a 6 seed or higher, let me just tell you that no team is going to want to match up against this hard-nosed team from Toronto. Personally, even if they're already exceeding the expectations they had set on them at the start of the year, still being labeled as a team that's in the process of rebuilding, I still think their record and seeding arrangement doesn't tell the full story, as they had to battle a boatload of injuries throughout the year that prevented this team from playing at 100%. Now, obviously don't get me wrong, the fact that this young and up-and-coming team is currently in the 6th seed and even tied with the Chicago Bulls, a team that most people had labeled as championship contenders just a few months ago, is an accomplishment in and of itself that these guys should be proud of, and it definitely says a lot about the future of this group with all of the potentials they have to grow together, and the fact that the average age of the Raptors' regular starting 5 of Van Vliet, Trent Jr., OG, Siakam, and Barnes is just 24.4 years old. These 5 guys together make up one of the best starting 5s in the NBA, and I'm not afraid to say it considering the carrying that some of these guys had to do on this team to make up for their lack of depth on this roster. They've only played in 19 games together on the year, however, were able to win a percentage of 68.4% in those 19 games, which saw them go 13-6 with all 5 of those guys starting together. If you average those numbers out to an 82-game season, that has them near 55 to 58 wins on the year, which would inevitably be enough wins to have them in first place in the Eastern Conference this year. Now, obviously, with a sample size of just 19 games, you can't officially determine just how good of a season they would have had if they played in all 82. That's just me trying to put it into perspective just how well they've played together when their top 5 guys are healthy. This is why if the Toronto Raptors manage to get in the playoffs with their top guys all playing, they are going to be a matchup nightmare for any team that has the potential to go up against them. And last night showed great signs for this club. Being the first time in a while, this has been the reality. Also, only a small percentage of people who watch my videos are actually subscribed, so if you end up liking this video, consider subscribing. It's free and it helps me out a ton. This group has the defensive versatility to make opposing teams struggle, especially in a half-court offense that will be prominent in the playoffs since the game will be slowing down. They have the size, length, and quickness that allows these guys to switch off their mans and not suffer because of it, and overall, they have proven to be extremely strong perimeter defenders, where all of this put together allows for them to rank in the top 10 in terms of their defensive rating all season long, rank 2nd in steals per game, hold opponents to the least points off of turnovers in the entire NBA, and give up the 9th least points per game. They also have a head coach that has already proven to be great at creating defensive schemes in the playoffs for whoever they go up against, and most notably against the Warriors in the finals, where they eventually won with the box and 1 scheme used to try and limit Curry to have as little of an impact as possible. And recently, the playoff series in the bubble against the Boston Celtics, Jason Tatum even said it himself that series they had against the Toronto Raptors was the hardest series he's ever had to play in, with what the Raptors drew up to combat him. The one thing that will be an issue during the playoffs would be if this team goes up against a dominant big, which seems to be the team's only real weakness on the defensive side of the ball, not having an elite rim protector to hold down the fort in the paint. However, the Raptors still managed to rank 8th in opponents' points in the paint on the year. Now, all these defensive stats show just how good this team can be at that side of the ball, but they aren't even considering the fact that for practically 3/4 of this team's games, they haven't had the 5 best guys on the floor together, who I also consider to be the team's 5 best defenders as well. Once again, an area that is a whole lot brighter than it already seems when this team is consistently healthy. Moving on to the offensive side of the ball, an area where this team and starting lineup in particular has the ability for any one of these guys on this team to go out there on any given night and score 30 points on their opponent. This has been a year where Van Vliet, Gary Trent, Siakam, OG, and Scotty have all had at least one game where they've reached 30 points or more on the year, and it's a lineup full of guys that make things so difficult to game plan against, as you don't quite get the opportunity to zero in on just one guy with all of the talent spread across the floor. Siakam, after just playing his best game of the season last night with 40 points and 13 rebounds, has also just been playing the best basketball of his season as of late, and is looking like the guy Raptors fans dreamed of when he signed his max contract extension back in 2019. For quite some time now, many people were down on the stock that Pascal presented in front of us, as he was seriously underperforming the contract that he signed, slowly but surely he is climbing out of this hole, and this is finally showing the world that he can be the #1 guy on this team. His offensive game is finally slowing down, allowing him to get to his spot on the floor, take high IQ shots, and use the moves that he's best at to create space for him down low, and this has allowed him to get into his rhythm before expanding his range in games, inevitably leading him to rack up nights like we saw just last night, and has given the Toronto Raptors another elite offensive weapon that propels this team in the right direction. Gary Trent is a flamethrower on the court where he can drop 30 or even 40 points on any given night, and when he gets hot, there is no question in my mind that he is the #1 option on this team to get a bucket down the stretch. VanVleet is the floor general that orchestrates the offense, another weapon that has proved he can score the ball from anywhere on the floor and has the most experience in the playoffs on this team, so definitely look for him to play a crucial role in the playoffs. Scottie, being just a rookie, will be growing into a larger role offensively as the years go on. However, he's shown time and time again that he does deserve to get the ball more in the post, as with his size, strength, and length, he's bullied guys all year long that has resulted in so many people, including myself, to preach for him to get more touches. And OG is the finishing piece in this lineup. He's had an off year scoring the ball as his percentages have dropped across the board. However, this doesn't mean he's had a bad year by any means, and he can still consistently give you nearly 20 points a night, so defenses still need to take him into consideration when you're game planning against the Toronto Raptors. As I've mentioned the starting lineup practically all video, this doesn't mean the Raptors have absolutely no bench going forward, as they recently acquired Thaddeus Young during the trade deadline, who honestly could be better but still has been solid off the bench for this team. Precious is very much emerging as a piece that is going to develop nicely for the future, as he's definitely been showing his midseason improvements, and Boucher has been a guy that provides a massive spark from time to time off the bench, who has been a part of this rotation for a couple of years now as another guy that brings the experience to the floor. All in all, we've never seen this new group of guys in a playoff series together, so we don't really know what to expect out of them, as they could get knocked out in the first round depending on their matchup, or they can definitely surprise some teams and even make a deep playoff run. What I do know is that no matter which series they play in, they will be an incredibly tough out for their opponent. And despite all the ups and downs we've seen from this team all year, they have a legit shot at coming away with the 5th seed in the East, and as a Raptors fan myself, with the expectations I had for this team at the start of the season, that is a massive win in my books for this club, and even with the season already being a success, they still have so much more left in the tank to continue to prove the world wrong and prove to themselves that the Toronto Raptors are once again a great team in the Eastern Conference. I, for one, am so excited to just have the ability to watch this team in the playoffs, as the buzz that they generate in the city is definitely something special, especially considering all of the great past playoff moments this team has already brought to this city. With that being said, I want to know your thoughts down below in the comments on which team you think would be the best matchup for the Raptors to go up against, and who you think we should try to avoid, if possible, in the playoffs that will give the Toronto Raptors an extremely hard time to match up against them. As always, if you enjoyed, be sure to leave a like on this video to help it get shared along YouTube's algorithm, and subscribe to my channel if you want to see more NBA videos like this one that I will be posting multiple times per week. Thank you all for watching, and I hope you all have a great night.